Good morning. This is Wendy Gaylor with the Bedford Area Chamber of Commerce Chamber Vibes podcast. And we are excited for our next guest speaker to talk to us today. And his name is Phil Tucker, and he is with Be Famous Media. And he comes to us with lots of expertise in the marketing department. And I love his story, and he has such a great following. And he talks about his mission statement is he desires to live each day with integrity and compassion, maintaining a consistency of positive attitude while exercising the gifts that he's been given to enrich and in service to those all around him. And that is inspiring in itself. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. Phil Tucker.
Thanks, Wendy. Glad to be here.
Good morning. Glad to have you. And so you moved here how many years ago?
It's about 20 years, 21 years.
Okay, so you're pretty embedded into the community, and you have a great following for your marketing business, and you have such, like I said, an expertise in your field, and people come to you saying, please help me because we want to develop our marketing and really have more of a digital strategy. I love that you do these marketing plans with digital strategies and help people with their website and all their different, what we're going to talk about today with the SEO. And so exciting. You're just the guru of SEO. And so we're excited to kind of impart that wisdom to the people that are listening to this podcast today. So if you don't know Phil, then you need to. And stay tuned because we're about to really give you some positive, informative vibes with Phil today. And but first, we want to get to know Phil a little bit better if you don't know him. And we were talking earlier about what brought you here to the Lynchburg, Bedford region.
Yeah, for sure. So it's pretty either exciting or unexciting, depending on how you look at it. But basically, came down to chase a young lady.
You go.
Yeah, we had dated for a few minutes, and I think I visited a couple of times and decided to see where the relationship was going to go. And the best way to do that was to move on down. So I moved from upstate New York. And actually, it was, I think, that first maybe February that I was down here. I kind of asked people, I said, well, when does winter come? When's it going to snow? And being from Syracuse, the snowiest city in the country, they kind of said, well, it's, spring's right around the corner. We already had winter. And so I was sold at that point. So that's what kept me down here is definitely, besides the young lady.
The moderate temperatures.
It's just I'm definitely a mid-Atlantic guy.
Well, we are so glad that you moved here and really got so into the culture and community and made a difference right where you are, which is exactly what your mission statement is. And so you've been in business how long for yourself?
Yeah, so 100% for myself, just over a year. And actually, like so many other marketers or just people out in the community, you find that they have a passion, they have a side hustle. And, I had a side hustle that probably was, probably a decade or more, and turned that passion into a full-time and then some business and career.
And that's the best, is to really... when you do something that you're passionate about, it's not like a job ever, and you're using your gifts and talents that you have and for something that you love. So you were self-taught web developer and search engine optimizer, which is SEO for those that don't know, and internet marketing, continuously educating yourself. And your desire is to help individuals and businesses succeed. And so you have such a diverse background as well, and also help people with financial planning and things like that too on the side with your church, I know. And so you can really help businesses in a lot of different ways. And so today, though, we're going to talk mostly about the SEOs and how you can help businesses in that area. But I don't want to be remiss and forget about what is on your bucket list And what have you done so far on your bucket list?
Yeah, so I always wanted to. I think travel is probably the number one thing on the bucket list, and there's different areas which some probably fit for a lot of different people. But I'm always wanted to go someplace tropical, and had the opportunity a few years ago to travel with a close friend, family, and my wife and I. We went to Thailand and spent about 3 weeks traveling up and down the coast in Thailand with a motor coach that our friend's parents had had rented out and had a driver, and it was awesome. We kind of just hopped from resort to resort, a lot of sightseeing, and it was amazing. But as far as bucket list items, I don't know if I want to do. I guess I could do both, but I want to do the train that goes from Chicago to San Francisco. I think it's
Yeah.
a Amtrak Zephyr, and there's one that does the U.S. Canadian Rockies, or actually, I guess it's just the U.S. Rockies for the U.S. side. But then there's also one that does the Canadian Rockies. That one I think goes Toronto to Vancouver. So I probably
Oh,
should
yeah.
try the U.S. first.
There you go.
And that one's cool because you can. I don't know if I would start in Chicago, but it stops along the way in a lot of different cities. Plus, the actual train has like these awesome viewing carts where basically you just sit in lounge chairs and watch the scenery go by. So that sounds like a lot of
Oh,
it sounds
beautiful.
like a lot of fun.
That does sound like a bucket
Um,
list item.
yeah, see, and then I'd also like to check out just all the beauty that U.S. has. So the Grand Canyons, Redwood Forest, California, and definitely like to check out Alaska. That looks like it has a lot of cool things to see.
Oh, beautiful. I would love that too. And so you will get there one day, and that'll be exciting. But Thailand sounds gorgeous
Yeah,
and
Thailand's
trip of a
crazy,
lifetime
definitely.
for sure. And I love trains, so that will be fun as well. So your business, you say in your motto, you client focused and results driven. Which is what a lot of businesses need. They need the results and they want to see the results. And so when you bring up the SEOs and all of this, have you made anybody famous? Because, that is in your name.
Well, that's the goal is to help small businesses become famous. Because even if their goal is not to be famous, that's not what they're setting out for. Their visibility needs to be first and foremost, especially over their competition. I'm a big fan of free markets and competition, but as far as helping my clients, I want to make sure that they can rise above, and when people are ready looking for their services, they can be found. But um, you know, one of the things that I really like about marketing, digital marketing specifically, is you can track the results. And just working as a small business owner myself, I'm very sensitive to that return on investment. And that's one of the things I notice a lot of. I don't want to beat up too bad on the traditional media folks, but that's one of the things I notice just working with a lot of traditional media. Um, they have a huge microphone, but we're not really sure what happens. So, you can have a beautiful billboard, an awesome TV commercial, radio commercial, print ad. Those are all great, especially for branding. I love traditional for branding to keep the name out there. But when people are actually looking for your services, I don't know if they're going to remember that billboard they drove past. But
That's
they're
right. But the search engine
they're
optimization,
definitely.
what does that mean?
So search engine optimization is basically just any activity that helps get your visibility in the search engine. So whether it's working on your Google listing in the maps or your actual website, so the website shows up in organic, and it's multifaceted as far as the techniques, but Google specifically, they're probably approaching 90% of the market share in search. Most people are using Google, whether it's Google directly or another company they own, which you've heard of, YouTube. Um, that's really what people are using to search. And it's even getting a ways with people using voice search on their phones. A lot of the studies are showing that, you
That's
know.
why my phone will repeat back to me
Are
later
you
what I
sure?
say.
Are you sure you're looking for
It's
this?
listening at all
Well,
times.
that's a whole different thing, but yeah, we can get into the
Right. Tell me
listening.
how that works. So, what types, and I know you just mentioned some, but what other types of SEOs are there?
Well, basically, there's three major categories. One is on site, and that's having to work and do things on your actual website. So there's some technical things, there's adding content, and making your website search friendly. But then, even more important is what happens off of your site, which a lot of times, business owners may hear things like backlinking. Um, and anytime you have another website that points to your website, that's a backlink. So if you imagine, if you're looking for a pizza shop, and you have websites out there that are saying, yeah, if you're looking for the best pizza in Lynchburg, and they have a link that goes to your pizza shop website, that's almost a vote of confidence that Google is seeing and kind of giving you credit for that link. So that's called off backlinks, and that's inside the off page optimization. And then the third is really focused on the citations or the name, address, phone numbers that point to your business. So you can think of all those directories, the Yelps, the yellowpages.com, all of those directories. And that's crucially important for local search engine optimization.
So, definitely backlinks, making sure you can link up to other websites. That's huge.
Yeah, and actually, it's not as much as you linking, but other websites linking to you.
Okay.
Yep.
So, why should businesses hire an SEO specialist?
Yeah, that's a great question. Just like most other things, my go-to answer actually is from my accountant, and her phrase is, "Even if you can do it, should you?" And so that's one of the things there is that most business owners just really don't have the time to invest in learning all that there is to learn. Um, and it's really similar to most problems that you have. If you have a leaky toilet, hire a plumber.
Right.
Can you fix it yourself? Maybe. But after you watch all those YouTube videos on how to fix it and really mess something up, you could have just hired a plumber to do it right. So
Exactly.
that's the main reason is that when you hire a professional, irregardless on what problem you're trying to solve, and in this case with search engine optimization, the problem is that your website doesn't show up when people do search for you. So you can have the very best goods or service, but if nobody knows when they're actually looking for you, then really what good is it?
And it's basically about, what I would say is somebody else is singing your song and, helping you to get the word out. So definitely getting
Yeah.
those other websites, pushing people to your website.
Yeah, that
And
vote of confidence is
hmm
huge for sure.
so, what is the process or what is your process for SEO?
Yeah, so in the beginning, I really like to do an audit to find out where businesses, where they are. And then also really go through and talk with businesses to find out what their goals are, what they're trying to achieve, and then put a plan together, some strategy to actually have a game plan on how to get them to where they want to be. But the main thing is taking a look at their website, doing an audit to find out, you know, what's wrong or what can be improved with their website, taking a look at their online visibility. Again, we were talking about the citations and the Google My Business listing, um, making sure that all of those are working together and optimized correctly so that when you do a Google search, you're showing up. Um, The other items that we really like to focus on are making sure that the website is search friendly. Definitely needs to be secure and mobile responsive. But now, Google's really pushing a real emphasis on making sure your website delivers answers. So most people, when they use Google, they have a question or a problem, something that they're trying to figure out, and Google's putting a lot of emphasis on your website delivering uh, that answer quickly. So you can think of almost anything that you'd ever would Google, and if your website doesn't answer that question, the likelihood that it ranks is really going to be low. So a lot of times I just try to work with business owners and um, focus that website and turn it into a resource for their prospects.
So about how long does that take, when you're auditing and analyzing, and how do you measure the results?
Sure. So that basic audit usually happens pretty quickly. Right now, we're delivering audits usually inside a week or two, depending on how large of a website or what their the size of their usually the size of their website, because the more pages they have and products and services, obviously there's more to audit. But outside of that, usually putting together a game plan and a strategy also takes a week or two, depending on how large of organization or what their goals are. And then we usually start the game plan part of it. Um, Usually that takes 2 or 3 weeks to actually start. And from there, if we're talking specifically with search engine optimization, that's usually more of a marathon. So we like to see results in usually the first 45 days. And as far as tracking, one of the main ways we track is just with keywords. So we'll agree on a set of keywords that are important to the business. And then we'll initially have a baseline so we know where we are. And then we'll just track it. And what I like to do is at least track and have monthly meetings. So once a month, I'd like to sit down and actually go through the reports and review what we've done, what's happened. And what's great with search engine optimization is a business owner, number one, is going to see the results from just increase in phone calls or leads from their website. Additionally, they can Google themselves and see, oh, well, before I didn't show up and now I do. So something's going on. Um, but yeah, that usually is in the first 45 days, and then it's just an ongoing process. I like to see my clients have tangible results in the first 6 months. But some of that has to do with the competition. So a more competitive industry, or if you're local or national, because I also have national clients, but it's a lot to do with the competition. But a good example is I have a local day spa, and you know, awesome business, awesome location, awesome clients. Everything is great, but their website was not where it needed to be. So we did a website redesign, and instantly the business owner saw a huge influx of new clients and new customers. And a lot of it was just the website being friendly, easy to navigate, and having it easy for people to find the website, and then that'll just keep growing. So she's actually in the process of hiring more staff.
Oh, that's an exciting story. Great
Yeah.
testimonial
Well, that's
there.
that's usually where I would start if somebody did contact me. I'd want to find out, are they actually looking to grow? Because I have talked to people and they have some interest, and we talk, and I'm like, well, can you actually handle more business? Are you looking to grow? And if the answer is not really, then it's not a good fit, because after I get a hold of their marketing and their website, that's my goal, is for them to get more leads, more business.
And what about if they just want it to look better and have, maybe a better front door? Because that's what we call our website, is our front door.
Yeah, for sure. So if it's highly aesthetics that's one thing, and we can kind of talk and find out what they're looking for. And yeah, I definitely have some of those clients that really just want like an online brochure, and that's fine. That's not a problem. But really, where I shine is helping businesses generate more business and
And there's
having
the results.
and
That's the
there's
results driven.
and that's why I'm results driven.
There
Yeah.
you go. And so, what trends are there any trends that you see right now that business owners need to be aware of that would be helpful to them?
Yeah, it's been going on for a few years now, and I'm sure if anybody has looked at, how to increase their business or marketing at all, video is definitely something that business owners need to really pay attention to because they've probably been putting it off for a few years, but now's the time. So between video and I think the other one is voice search. A lot of stats are showing that half of adults in the U.S. use voice every day to look for something. You hear people asking Siri or Hey Google, um, and then the number of voice activated devices in the home. I think it's about 13 to 15% of U.S. homes have a some type of smart device that they can talk to, and those numbers are just
No, they're
grow.
skyrocketing,
Yeah,
I'm
they're just
sure,
going
right
to keep
now.
keep growing. So I think business owners that are not aware of voice, they're going to be left in the dust. Um, but I think one of the things too that I really try to work on with business owners is making sure that they understand that they need to be a resource for their clients and their customers or their prospects. A lot of times you go to a website and you kind of go through and you're initially you may not even be sure what the business does. And once you figure that out, the way to contact the business owner is hidden or hard. Takes multiple clicks to get to that contact page. So really, what I like to walk through is just have people step into their prospects or their future clients kind of shoes to see, well, what are they looking for or how can I help them versus what do I want to tell them, and really focus on being I guess customer centric with their website and their marketing.
Yeah, and to really, like you said, tell their story and really showcase who they are, what they do, and how they can best help you.
Definitely.
And that needs to be shown on their website for sure. And people can find out more about you and your business and what you can do for them on our website. I'll just mention that bedfordareachamber.com because you are a Bedford Chamber member. And we're excited to offer a program with you where people can learn more about SEOs and what they can do for their business. And you're going to train them some things. We have a summer series for June, July, and August with
Yes.
Phil, Be Famous Media, June 30th, Wednesday at 12. This will be our lunch seminars. Bring your own lunch. Come on, see us virtually. And then, so the first one's June 30th at 12. Then we'll have July 28th and then August 25th. So we'll look forward to those and learning more from you, and we'll learn along with our businesses as
Yeah, for
well.
sure.
Well, thank you so much, Phil, for coming on today, and we'll look forward to hearing more and people to gain insight on how to get their SEOs to come up and why it's important to them and what they need to do right now to stand out above their competition.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Wendy.
Have a great day.
You